Hey, it's Ken, and this is another episode of Absolutely, where we help you learn to build super awesome mobile applications, and I'll be your host. Today, we are talking about the top 5 things that you need to know before building a mobile application. Now, a lot of people get awesome app ideas, and the first thing that they want to do is go right to market. You believe, and rightfully so, that your app idea is going to be the app idea that's going to change the world. The problem is about millions of people pretty much have the same or a similar idea or have the same idea, and they're going to go down the path of building something that people don't want to use. So, number 1 would be to have a target market and understand the target market. Now, it's really cool to come up with an idea of a tool, or internally, we kind of call it like a toy, because you can build an application that does something, right? Something cool. You can build an application that's maybe a Twitter clone, or you could build a community application, or you can build a chat application or an AI application or any of those cool things. These things sound cool, but the problem is if you don't have a market, then you will quickly run out of money. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to spend time building something that people don't want to use. So it's really important to spend some time on the target market. Now, how do you do that? First, you find people with a problem. Once you spend time with them, once you understand what their problem is, that's when you build something to solve their problem. Make sure that they have a very high pain point. Make sure that you can actually access these people. So that essentially means you can get to them. You have a channel, whether that be social media, whether that be ad, whether that be like really good targeting. Find a way to get in front of them and present your idea or your app to them. If you could find them, and if you can show them like, hey, I understand your problem, I understand what you're going through, and here's an app or a web application that can solve your problem, it works. For instance, recently I started looking for something better than MyFitnessPal. Now, there's nothing wrong with MyFitnessPal. I like it. But when I use apps, I want my apps to have like a bunch of integrations. I also like it to look good because, I make apps, and because I make apps, the apps that I have on my phone need to be like the top apps in the world. So, eventually I was on social media, scrolling through Instagram, and I saw an ad while I was doing some searching, and by searching, it triggered all of the automatic ad tracking to essentially mark me as a person who's looking for a new fitness app, or a new macro tracking app. So I saw an ad and it spoke directly to me. It knew what my problems were. It knew what I wanted to accomplish. And I went from being a scroller on social media to a active participant in their business. So you want to do something similar. You want to be able to speak to their problems and make sure that you understand them. The other thing is you want to have a good monetization strategy. Now, even if your app isn't supposed to make money directly, that is, you do need to spend the time to figure out how you're going to make money in the future. This is especially important if you're going to get investors to invest in your app, or if you're presenting this to your boss and you want your boss to see that there is a return on investment in the future. So having a good and solid understanding as to where your customers get the most value in your app, that would help you build your monetization strategy. So if your customer gets, let's say if you're going the ad route, meaning that you're going to show ads on your platform, you want to make sure that you tie ad views or ad clicks to the most important area in your app. Whether if you're making a game, that could be making sure that you show ads in between levels, or you could show ads on the main menu screen, Or if you're making an application that's just like a social network, you can embed ads into your product, meaning that as a person does the main activity of your application, just embed the ads in there so that it's part of an organic experience. Now, the real interesting tip when dealing with when dealing with an app that does advertising is that, yeah, you could go the Google Ads route. You can go to a lot of the very popular ad channels out there, or you can find a niche and target the people who are targeting your target market and allow them to advertise on your platform at a higher rate than they would usually pay. So for instance, if you made an app for lawyers, you can sell ads to people who are either you could sell ads to people who service lawyers. So think about that when you're thinking about your monetization strategy. Now there's always you pay $1 for your app, you download it and it's cool. But the better strategy, especially in 2023, is to get somebody into some type of subscription. Even if it's $2 a month, having some type of subscription allows your customer to get more comfortable with giving you money. And it also allows you to shape your app in a way in where you are providing premium features to the people who use your app, rather than one solid app experience to everybody who uses the app. Now, the premium features are important because depending on the weight of the problem, that determines whether or not people are willing to part ways with their cash. So think about that when you're doing that. While you're thinking about that, we'll jump to number 3, which is clearly defining a purpose for your app. So when you're doing this, when you have your awesome app idea that's going to change the world, you don't want to do like 20 million things. You really want your app to do maybe 1 or 2 things, right? I know that you may see apps out there that have like 15, 20, 30 different features. The issue with that situation is that they build those features over time, and those features aren't driven necessarily by the companies want to build something. Those features are specifically for the issues that they've encountered over time. So they may have launched with maybe 1 or 2 features, and then their customers started asking them for this small thing and that small thing. And over the course of a year or two, all of these little things kind of pile up and make a very robust application. The other reason why you don't want to have a ton of features is that it is expensive to build features. It's not, you can't go to a developer or go to a designer and say, hey, can you spend an hour or 2 developing this feature? You really want to make sure that you have your core features down packed first. You want to have some revenue coming in, and you want to take that new revenue and invest it into the development of your app. Taking the time to really think about thinking about your target audience, thinking about how you can monetize your target audience, and then thinking about the most impactful thing that your app can do for them. That will help you differentiate yourself from the crowd. That'll also help you do one thing. For instance, the app that I was speaking about was called Macro Factor, right? Now, I'm pretty big on capturing my macros and just making sure that it's cool, but the MyFitnessPal, it's, it's okay. But they had this really interesting feature that essentially determines, through the use of your smart scale and everything that you have, it pretty much determines your energy expenditure over time versus the food that you eat. They also have the fastest food capturing system ever. And I know that with MyFitnessPal, it can kind of be a little bit tedious putting food into the system. But all of those small things, right? They got food tracking right. And they have this really interesting feature that enticed me to use their app. That's what got me in the door. That's what got them my yearly membership. So having that, getting one or two features right, making one feature like really amazing, spending 80% of your time on that one feature, making it great, maybe have a secondary feature for either a premium users or just another tier of users. Doing all of those things will allow you to build an amazing app. So take the time to think about the purpose of your app, because if you do, you'll make some money. Now, when you have a solid purpose in your application, you want to make sure that you are developing for the correct platform. Now, most people want to launch on iOS and Android and the web and Windows Phone and BlackBerry and all of those platforms at one time. And that can be great if that fits into your overall business strategy, right? If there is an absolute need, if your customers are segmented, if they're segmented and you really understand that, there's going to be an issue with serving one market versus another, then yeah, I would go that route. But if you don't have to, don't. You can take the time to build an iOS app that only targets a specific audience, because you've done the market research. You understand that your target audience specifically has the iPhones. You understand the psychographic profile. You understand the apps that they also use on their iPhone. So do that. Tackle them. Go iPhone only. Same thing with Android. If you understand that, hey, look, everybody uses Android. Everybody in our target audience specifically has these types of apps. They want these features. Target Android. Always start slow first and then go into it over time. If your app doesn't need to be a web application, if it doesn't need to be a mobile application, build a web application. Yeah, you won't be able to do push notifications or things like that, but depending on your the customer journey from finding out who your company is and what you do to purchase, you want to make that as smooth as possible, which means that you don't want to take the time to have them download an app, go through all this rigmarole. You want to have them focus on doing what they have to do. But it all depends on your target audience, your monetization strategy, and the purpose of your app. So choosing the right platform and technology, very important. Make sure that you target one, and then you move on to the next. And for number 4, we want to really focus on user experience and design. Now, when it comes down to it, if somebody downloads your application or somebody goes to your app's website, if it looks bad, especially in 2023, they're going to go. They're going to leave. They're not going to spend time with it. They're going to think that they're on the wrong app. It is important for your app to have a basic level of design. It doesn't need to be the most beautiful app in the world. It doesn't need to, win any awards. It just needs to look decent. And this also kind of depends on where your target audience is. So if you're targeting me, if you have a really nice app design, if you are really interesting with the colors, if your app kind of stands out, then yeah, you're going to get me. But that might not be for everybody, which is why number one, which is understanding your target audience. If you spend the time to, I did 2 number 4s, which is fine. We'll call this number 5. If you spend the time to really understand how people use your app, right? How the journey from the user experience journey doesn't start from when they open your app. The user experience journey starts from the moment they become aware of your application. So it's important to take the time and say, all right, new person, they know about us. How do we engage them? How do we take them from a stranger to a paying customer? What you also want to do is when you run a re-engagement campaign, meaning that people know about your app, maybe you've released a couple of new features and maybe you have a few new features, you're really excited and you want more engagement into your application, you can take the time and reactivate all of those existing customers. And When you do that, you want to make sure that the user experience for that is great. Basecamp is a really it's one of the first project management systems out there, and it's used by a lot of people. They are excellent at using UI and UX to entice people who've left using Basecamp back into their ecosystem, and they use a good user experience from their marketing pages, from the ads that they do. They capture people and they bring them just from good user experience, good design, and everything. And they've been after me for a couple of years now, but I'm Team Notion, at least for now. And that's pretty much it. Those are the things that you really have to know. Again, understand your target market, have a good monetization strategy, clearly define the purpose of your application, choose the right platform and technology, and focus on user experience and user design. And you are on your way to building a platform or an app or a website that people love to use. And that is your episode of Absolutely. Please like, comment, share, depending on where this goes. I'd love to hear your comments. If you have any questions, if you're building an app, if you or your company wants to have some insight from the product development, the interface, the design, the marketing, if you need that insight, drop us a line and we'll help you out. Thanks for your time, and I will talk to you soon.